Anybody you ask, everybody knew that the Supreme Court was going to take a decision in favor of the MPP caucus in Parliament and therefore Afenyo-Markin. I think that it is impossible for any betting agency to develop a scheme based on Supreme Court rulings in Ghana. Anybody you ask, everybody knew that the Supreme Court was going to take a decision in favor of the MPP caucus in Parliament and therefore Afenyo-Markin. I didn't hear one person who thought that the decision could be anything else than what has been delivered. Now, it is instructive that a former Chief Justice has had cause to complain that our courts are becoming too predictable. As a former Chief Justice, it is also instructive that a legal giant like Mr. Chachu Chikata has made the point that, you know, the crisis in our economy is far less severe than the crisis in our judiciary, and there are several other such comments. Indeed, this morning, you've read the comments of Justice Atuguba, who himself was a Supreme Court judge, and his comments are exceedingly interesting. He makes the point that the politicians we have, weird as they are, appear hell-bent on influencing judicial decisions. And he makes the point that even when they know they are wrong, they still attempt to influence judicial decisions, and that the courts are courts and can be persuaded by different kinds of means, and so on. These are very sad commentaries. In any democratic, dispensation, these are very, very sad commentaries. But these are the commentaries which are being made. Now, Randy, I, as a layperson, finds the decision of the Supreme Court exceedingly weird. Okay, and I would explain. By the Supreme Court decision, somebody like Mamle Cynthia Morrison, Honorable, is still an MPP member of Parliament. Clear. And by virtue of a membership of the MPP, membership of Parliament as an MPP parliamentarian, she's entitled to participate in decisions of the MPP caucus. Now here is a woman who on the ground, in the constituency, is fighting the MPP, is campaigning against the MPP. And yet the Supreme Court says that she remains a member of the MPP caucus. How is that going to work? The Supreme Court is saying that Honorable Mamle Morrison can attend MPP caucus meeting even though she's against the party. This is weird. Extremely weird. By that decision, the Supreme Court is also saying that the NDC member of Parliament who's gone independent is still a member of the NDC caucus in Parliament. Weird. How does the NDC admit somebody into its meetings, some of which may be confidential meetings, who is on the ground campaigning against the party? So, these decisions, at least, they ought to sound reasonable to people like us. But clearly, they don't. Now, the decision has been made that the Speaker's ruling was unconstitutional. What is the effect of that? Let us assume that your speculation is grounded. Let us assume that your speculation is grounded. And that the Supreme Court's decision is that it's the High Court which can pronounce on the matter. Until the High Court pronounced on the matter, the status quo remains. The High Court has not taken a position yet.
Nobody is before the High Court.
Exactly.
Yes.
So therefore, we go back to the status quo ante.
Which the status quo ante is.
Which means that they are still members of parliament.
Yes.
Which and
Yes.
then all these practical difficulties kick in.
Oh yes.
You understand?
Oh, yes.
So no matter the reasons that the Supreme Court gives, by deciding that the Speaker's ruling or the Speaker's announcement or decision was unconstitutional, we are now saying that Cynthia Morrison is still an MPP member of Parliament. Therefore, by implication, belongs to the MPP caucus, and in spite of the fact that she's campaigning against the MPP in her constituency, has a seat in the MPP caucus in Parliament. So this is the absurd situation we have. You understand? Absurd situation, really absurd situation. But hey, Yandi, you are not a Supreme Court judge. Maybe would never be. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will never be.
And I'm not even a lawyer. You understand? But the law ought to be logical, ought to make sense. And in this particular case, I find it extremely difficult to accept that somebody campaigning against a party can actually be forced by some interpretation of the Constitution to remain part of that party, and therefore by right should attend meetings of the party, including confidential meetings of the party. Very strange decision, but the decision has been made. Okay. Now the question then is that what is the purpose of this decision? What is the effect of this decision? As we speak, as we sit here this morning, Parliament is not sitting. And government and its caucus in Parliament, the MPP caucus in Parliament, insists that there is urgent business to be done. That is why they signed a petition calling on the Speaker to reconvene Parliament and so on. Okay. This decision, can it in any practical terms lead to reconvening of Parliament? I doubt. A petition may be filed, yes, compelling the Speaker to reconvene Parliament. When the Speaker reconvenes Parliament, just on the basis of the standing orders, he needs numbers to be able to allow Parliament to work. If those numbers are not present in Parliament, Parliament cannot work, even if the Speaker is compelled to reconvene Parliament. So what is the effect of the Supreme Court decision? What is the practical effect of the Supreme Court decision? This Supreme Court decision cannot by any stretch of imagination lead to an order about where people should sit in Parliament. It cannot. So this whole hula baloo about where parliamentarians sit has not been resolved by this Supreme Court decision.